Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into a musical masterpiece, an album whose sound wasn't born from some unified vision, but actually from a legendary creative battle. This is the story of Joy Division's Unknown Pleasures. So let's just start with this quote because it cuts right to the heart of the whole thing. When the bassist Peter Hook said, "He took our sound away," he wasn't talking about some thief who stole their gear. Nope. He was talking about their own producer, Martin Hannett. It's a statement that just lays bare this deep conflict, this feeling that the band's entire identity was being twisted into something else, right there in the studio and completely against their will. And that tees up the central mystery we're going to unravel today. The sound of Joy Division's 1979 debut album, that eerie, echoing, and profoundly influential sound, wasn't what the band wanted at all. Not even close. It was the result of a massive collision between two totally different ideas of what music could even be.
Okay, so to really understand this clash, we've got to first understand the band itself and the world they came from.
Let's set the scene. You've got to picture it. We're in late 1970s Manchester, a city that's pretty much scarred by industrial decline. The whole raw, three-chord energy of punk rock is kind of starting to fizzle out, and artists are desperately searching for something new, something that reflects the bleak, anxious reality all around them. And this is the world that gave birth to Joy Division. And on stage, Joy Division was just a force of nature. Seriously, their sound was loud, it was visceral, it was an intense sonic assault. So naturally, when they went into the studio to record Unknown Pleasures, their goal was simple: capture that raw, live power on tape. That was it. That was their vision. But their producer, the mysterious Martin Hannett, he had a completely different plan. He wasn't interested in just, capturing a performance. He wanted to build an entire world out of sound. To get Martin Hannett, you really have to get his philosophy. He wasn't your typical producer, not by a long shot. With a background in chemistry, he basically approached music like a mad scientist. For him, the studio wasn't just a place to record. It was his laboratory, a place where he could dissect sound, break it down to its absolute core elements, and then reassemble it into something haunting and totally new. So this created a fundamental problem, right? On one side, you have Joy Division, trying to bottle the lightning of their live shows. And on the other, you've got Hannett, wanting to sculpt this controlled, atmospheric piece of art. These two visions, well, they were on a direct collision course. The recording sessions for Unknown Pleasures became the crucible, the battlefield where this creative conflict just exploded and where a legendary sound was forged in that fire.
So the band walks into Strawberry Studios all ready to play, and Hannett pretty much greets them with a warning that was also kind of a promise. He immediately started to systematically dismantle their sound, using all these bizarre and unconventional techniques that were really just designed to push them way, way outside their comfort zone.
I mean, just take the drums, for example. This is wild. Instead of recording the kit as a single unit, Hannett had the drummer, Stephen Morris, record each and every piece separately. He'd have him record the snare in a stairwell, the kick drum in a bathroom, anywhere he could get a clean, isolated sound. Then in the mix, he'd put it all back together and just drench it in digital delay. And that's how you get that vast, cavernous, iconic drum sound. His toolbox was just full of these strange methods. He made the band play in freezing cold rooms to create this tense, brittle performance. He pioneered the use of digital effects to make guitars shimmer and bass lines echo like they were being played in a giant cathedral. He treated silence itself like an instrument, and he processed Ian Curtis's vocals to make them sound distant and haunted. Every single choice he made was designed to strip away the band's raw power and replace it with this stark, unsettling atmosphere.
So was this iconic sound the result of some grand plan, or was it just a happy accident? Well, the truth, as it often is, lies somewhere in between. And this really gets to the core of it all. From the band's perspective, the album's sound was an unintentional side effect of a super frustrating process they had no control over. But from Hannett's perspective, it was a completely deliberate act of artistic creation. He knew exactly what he was building, even if the band had no idea. The end result was this synthesis. You've got the band's raw, powerful songs, but they're being filtered through the prism of their producer's radical, almost confrontational vision. It was absolutely not the album Joy Division thought they were making, but it became the album that would define them and, influence music for decades to come.
And the impact was just monumental. Unknown Pleasures showed the entire world that power in music could come from space, from texture, and from atmosphere, not just from raw volume. It basically laid the groundwork for entire genres like goth rock and modern indie, and it cemented this idea of the producer not just as a technician, but as a true artist and auteur with their own unique vision. Ultimately, the story of Unknown Pleasures leaves us with a pretty big question about creativity itself. It suggests that sometimes the most enduring masterpieces aren't meticulously planned out. Instead, they emerge from the chaotic, the unpredictable, and the absolutely brilliant clash of opposing forces.